2018 Bellevue Colts, the proud team managers with us, Graham Goodwin and Steve Williams. A few new faces to the Colts this year. Paul Bowen, very successful pie shop in is it Lee area?
Chorley.
What?
Chorley,
do apologise, yeah. It's Paul Bowen. Jack Smith, you may recognise from the Bellevue Aces from last year. He's the Colts captain this season. Next to him, Joe Lawler, local lad from the Boston area, rode for us a couple of seasons ago, very happy to be back with us. Somewhat familiar face to you, not quite the same man though. This year, Ben Woodall, twin brother Luke, rode for us last season. Ben, of course, was our number 8 for a brief spell before joining Buxton later in the year. Keane Dickham, really pleased to have him with us. Initially signed for the Birmingham Brummies last year. Bit of an accident on press day though, broke his leg, didn't get to ride, so try not to get over enthusiastic this year. Keane, we'd like to keep you with us for a bit longer. And last but definitely not least, we have Kyle Bickley there on the end, already a very established international rider, as we all know. Very successful debut season for the Colts in 2017, added in excess of 3 points to his average. So, and not with us today, our 7th signing, Tom Perry. Initially we had signed a lad from Wigan, Lee Payne. Unfortunately had a motocross accident just recently and injured a recurring shoulder problem, which meant that Tom very kindly stepped in at last minute's notice. So fellas, as I say, we've got various media with us today. If they do want to speak to you, which I'm sure they certainly will at some point or other, do answer the questions. So I'm going to ask you first of all just a couple from myself, Steve and Graham, as managers. I mean, a tremendous season last year for the Bellevue Colts. I mean, the team themselves did not lose a single match at the National Speedway Stadium. I mean, that's quite a record, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great achievement for the boys last year. I think the home record was phenomenal. The team we had was superb week in and week out when we went away, and it was just an amazing year.
And Graham, from yourself, quite a different looking side this year, but certainly harks back to what the National League's all about, a development league. We've got a few new faces, a very young team especially, so we've got plenty to look forward to from these guys, haven't we?
Yeah, it was inevitable that we're going to lose somebody because of the points limit. We finished so high, around 52 mark, and we had to get down to 39. But we've worked with what we want, a young team. 5 of the 7 are teenagers, 3 of them are 16 still. So yeah, the main thing is get a young team. We know we're not going to be as strong as last year. Last year was a one-off where it, once in a lifetime team really, but we're working with the ethos of youngsters, plenty of teenagers in there. Should be an exciting year.
Absolutely. For those of you not necessarily familiar with the rules of Speedway, each rider is assigned an average based on the points he scores. I'm sure there's bit more to it than just that, but his average basically dictates who we can sign, because each year at the AGM we're given a points limit for that league, which means you can only have riders whose averages tally up to equal to or below that total point score. So as you said, the riders we had last year added so much to their average, it meant that inevitably the rule numbers dictated we couldn't bring them back. But having said that, again, we've got some very promising young talent in there. Paul Bowen, if I could come to you, sir, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Paul, very brief stint with Buxton a few years ago, back in 2015, had a bit of an accident, didn't ride again after that, but guested for Bellevue a few times last season, won your first ever National League heat at this very stadium. How do you feel to be here on a full-time basis this year?
Yeah, brilliant for me. Obviously you've said about a young team. I'm actually 29 tomorrow, so these guys are, they're 10 years younger than me, but they've all got 10 years more experience. Really excited to get here. I still feel like a teenager at heart, and I still pretend I'm a teenager when I'm out. So, but no, I'm really looking forward to this year. My business, which is the pie business, I've managed to sort of get that settled where I can have a bit of playtime, and I'm hoping that it's going to be more than a bit of playtime and a bit of seriousness and something for me to really get my teeth into.
Richard, I don't know if you might recognise this chappie from the Wigan Pie Eating Championship.
Yes, the Wigan Pie Eating competition. Was you there?
Supply from his very show.
Yeah. I was looking at your face and thinking, I
should I get my white coat on?
Do you have to stay off the pies then? Now you're doing this?
Yeah. Well, no, our pies are fat free, so this is why I'm. You can see why I'm slender.
Oh wow.
Not brilliant.
Looks like we've got a special guest joining us as well, folks. Can I introduce the club mascot, Chase the Ace? Very successful debut last season, Chase. Great to see you back again, sir. Happy days. What do you reckon on the team? Looking good so far? Good man, I'm sure if you want to have a chat with Chase at some point, I'm quite happy to. But yeah, no, Paul, great to have you with us on. You're the right character in the pits as well, so I'm sure we'll see some great things from yourself. Jack Smith, familiar face, returning from last season. Not riding for the Colts, the Aces, sorry, this year, but stepping up to Colts captain. Big commitment for you.
Yeah, it's a massive commitment, and it's a big honour as well. I'm really looking forward to this season, and you know, it's my third season in the National League, and I'm just, you know, slowly developing and becoming a better rider, and yeah, hopefully it'll be another good year. And
you've got other prospects on the horizon as well. You've Jack's just signed a contract with a Polish team in Europe. No guarantee of a ride, but you are now on their books, so there's every potential for you to start appearing on the continent this year.
Yeah, well, signed for Ravage in the third division in Poland, and they've already asked me to do a few meetings, and I was asked to do one that clashed with the under-21 qualifiers, so you know, I'll obviously have to miss that one, but yeah, hopefully, you know, I get a few meetings out there and show what I can do out there, and yeah, I've already got a bit of practice coming up over there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Happy days, happy days. And Joe Lawler in the middle over there, you know, me and you quite familiar, because we have a mutual friend that doesn't live too far from yourself, Mr. John Armstrong, of course, but you made your debut a couple of seasons ago with Bellevue in 2016. Only a brief spell, that obviously in place of Andy Mellish, who was injured at the time, but since then moved to Cradley for a season in 2017. Now back home on home soil, happy to be back. And what do you reckon on the season ahead?
Yeah, definitely, I'm glad to be back. The year away, obviously I've been at Bellevue since I was 10 when I first started Speedway, because I was mascot. So obviously it's good to be back. The year away did do me well, being at different scenery and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm glad to be back 10 minutes down the road, don't have to set off till 5 o'clock.
Always a good thing when you don't have to go too far to go to work, but absolutely. And in your time at Cradley then, I mean, it's a very different track to what we've got here in Manchester. Will that impact sort of how you ride, or do you think it's going to really push you to sort of expand out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, I think it definitely do me well, because obviously it's very technical, so you've got your big track here where you just keep it wide open and sit back, and then obviously being at Cradley for the year will have helped me when we go away to places like Eastbourne and stuff like that. You know.
Thank you very much, Joe. Mr. Luke, Ben Woodall, I'm so sorry. He just looks so similar. We have two sets of twins we've had two sets of twins at Bellevue over the years. The Worrell twins, Steve Worrell, who is the Aces captain, we'll be speaking to very soon, and lately the Woodall twins. Now Ben, Luke's decided to sort of take a step back from the sport this year to focus on his mini stocks career. But for yourself, back for a second season, you must be really sort of enjoying life on two wheels.
Yeah, definitely. I struggled last year. I never really got any consistency. I never really got a full go at it. So I had a couple of good meetings, but I struggled to kind of get into it. So hopefully this year I can get a full season in and really start progressing, you know, across all the tracks really.
I mean, you sort of started on a level playing field, yourself and Luke, both started at the same time. I mean, is it sort of comforting to you to see how much Luke progressed during his time at Bellevue? Does that give you sort of a bit of more confidence to think, oh, I could potentially do very similar things to what he did last year?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he came on quite a long way from where he started, so hopefully I can kind of start where I am now and really improve, especially at the away tracks really, and staying on my bike most of the time. That'd be nice.
I've not actually noticed you fall off, so don't be too hard on yourself. Thank you very much, Ben. And Keen, Dickon, really nice again to have you here, my dear. Just sort of bring us up to speed then with what was going on with you last year. I mean, obviously breaking your leg at press day must have been heartbreaking.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I was looking forward to the season with him, to be fair. Probably put too much pressure on myself, trying to do stuff that I'd never rode the track, and I went in a bit hard, and yeah, I ended up breaking my leg. And we had a bit of a set too when I come back from my leg, and I was like, will you give me rides? And I was like, yeah, sure. They put me in the team, and then they pulled me out the day before so we'd be ready, and they kept it was just messing me about, and it was one of them where we couldn't be missing riding because they don't want us in the team. So we decided to pull back and try and guest for other teams that were giving us the opportunities.
So did you sort of do that predominantly last year? How often were you guesting? Was it enough for you to sort of still feel fresh on the bike?
Yeah, I guested quite a bit. Did a few meetings for Plymouth when their number 7 was away, so I think it was 2 or 3 meetings for them. Did a few at Stoke, and then just was in the MDL quite a bit, just so I could ride on my bike mainly. But yeah, I did quite a bit last year.
And looking forward to this season, then a totally different setup again, like a lot of the lads who have not ridden here for quite a while, but looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm very excited. A couple of meetings here, enjoyed them all, so having a full season here is going to be good.
Well, can't wait to see you in action, dear. And last but definitely not least, over there on the end, Kyle Bickley. Kyle, new challenges for you this year as well. After a very successful debut for Bellevue last season, as we said, 2017 champions. You're sort of expanding your horizons as well. You've signed for Workington in the Championship League, which is the intermediate league of British Speedway. There are 3 tiers: National, Premier and Elite, which we're not referring to those anymore. It should be National League, Championship and Premiership, apologies. But yeah, so life with the Workington Comets, looking forward to that, and another season with the Bellevue Colts as well.
Yeah, you know, it's great to be back with the Colts. There's no doubt I was going to be back anyways. You know, I always want to come to this club. It's such a big track. You know, there's nothing else like it in the league or the country really. So yeah, and then I signed for Workington. You know, it's a local track. I think it's about a mile away from my house. I can see the track my bedroom window, so not too bad. But no, I'm just sort of testing the water and see where I can go. So far now with you know, the high league, and see what happens.
I know you've been quite keen ever since you sort of made your debut to see how far you could push yourself. I mean, you already, when Kyle first started riding, he was 15 years old when he came to us, but before that, even the ages of 11, 12, 13, he was competing on the continent, winning FIM World Championship titles, so he came to us already a very established rider, and I think from Stephen Graham's point of view, fair to say he's going to be quite an interesting career. Kyle, looking forward to very much seeing what you can do. What kind of are your ambitions then? Because as we say, you've already done so much, and you're not even hit 16, 17 years old yet.
To be honest, I don't really have any ambitions yet, to be honest. I just want to sort of get this season underway and sort of know where I am, to be honest. It's sort of league racing so much different. Obviously I found out last season with obviously the Colts, but this year it's going to be even harder with obviously the championship, I think it is, or yeah, championship. Obviously the league's been toughened throughout from 1 to 7, so it's going to be a lot harder this year, but you know, we're just testing the water sort of thing.
And it's also worth noting, of course, Nigel Pearson at the back over there will be quite chuffed because although Cradley aren't competing in the National League this year for various reasons, Kyle will also be donning the Cradley race jackets for their is it National Trophy that they're doing, Nigel? So yeah, riding for 2 clubs at once, really, three teams this year essentially. So going to be a busy boy.
Yeah, you know, clearly he's got a lot of history behind the club. Sort of all the great riders come through it, and you know, it's like Joe said, it's sort of the opposite to this track, which is good to get yourself out there and, you know, test out the different tracks and, you know, become a better rider, sort of thing.
I'm sure Joe can give you some tips on best way around that place, so get your heads together, fellas. Now, obviously, we have got one, as we say, rider missing, Tom Perry, who couldn't be with us due to work commitments. He was only brought into the team sort of last week, so Steve...
Should I get him on FaceTime so you can ask him for a few questions? No, he's been able to miss this. I reckon we get him on FaceTime now. What do you reckon?
You can try, but I don't know if his manager would go for it. He works in a bank, actually, Tom, so he might not be allowed his phone jack, but nice idea. We'll keep it in mind for next time. But again, you know, I mean, Tom Perry was, you know, somebody who was on our radar initially, I believe, from Mark Lemon, who approached Bellevue, wanting to know if there was a team place for him. At the time, we'd already sort of made our plans, but then unfortunately those plans changed when Lee Payne gave us that not too nice news. It must have been a bit of a blow to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, Lee had his injury last year. Really wanted to come back, and just bad luck, really. You know, he was trying to get fit on the motocrosser, and you know, these things happen. You know, it's a motorsport, but it's even worse to take when you're just training. But obviously, Tom had shown an interest, and he's more than adequate, you know, replacement for Lee. You know, Lee's done great for us over the last couple of years and that. So you know, he'll always be welcome here. But I mean, obviously Tom's stepping in, and I don't see any problem with Tom once he gets used to the track, being able to perform like Lee did for us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all know what kind of a calibre rider he is, but because it was such short notice that he was brought in, he's not actually ready yet for the season. He's still getting his equipment together. He's, as you say, we can't be with us today because he's working, couldn't get the time off. But you know, he has, you know, said, you know, he's really keen to ride for this club. He couldn't let the opportunity pass. And even though he's not quite ready, I'm sure you guys and all of us involved will be able to help him sort of get himself sorted and be ready for that first meeting.
Yeah, we have a great team spirit here. It's something that we've always, me and Graham, have impressed on really. You know, the spirit carries you through sometimes when you're not having so good meetings. And I'm sure we can, you know, he knows Jack very well. So I'm sure there won't be any problem in getting him, you know, bonded with the lads. And you know, I'm looking forward to the season, a few fresh faces, but I think, you know, it's going to be an entertaining season, and just hope the lads have a good year as we did last year.